You could say that residents of Atlanta are getting a glimpse of what the defund the police movement can offer, since most of the beat cops in their neighborhood are no longer there. They've instead been reassigned to the Weelaunee Forest to harass protesters and defend construction crews that are clearing trees to make room for Cop City. Atlanta is pushing ahead with the project despite mass protests from citizens and despite new legal challenges to it by a number of city officials. This week, DeKalb County Commissioner Ted Terry filed a complaint in the Fulton County Superior Court seeking to halt construction of the facility. He was joined in the complaint by a member of the advisory council overseeing the project and by the South River Watershed Alliance, a nonprofit environmental group. The complaint asked for a restraining order against the Atlanta Police Foundation to halt construction. One thing is clear, the fight against Cop City is not over yet. Our newest MMN correspondent, Jamie Peck, spoke with a forest defender in Atlanta and filed this report on their struggle.
Representing a diverse coalition that includes veterans of Black Lives Matter, Standing Rock, and other recent struggles, the Atlanta Forest Defenders have come together to oppose the city's plan to bulldoze some 300 acres of ecologically important, publicly owned forest land to build a $90 million police training facility that's come to be known as Cop City, where the militarized police of Atlanta and elsewhere would practice using deadly force against civilian populations. For an inside perspective on what's going on, I spoke with a forest defender named Sarah, who requested we obscure her face for security reasons.
This is being opposed on the basis that giving more police resources, a huge amount of public space over to the police is something that, obviously is only going to serve to further violence and militarization of police. And Cop City, it wouldn't train only Georgia police, it would train police all over the country.
A recent poll by Atlanta Community Research of nearly 400 residents of the majority Black working class neighborhoods that border the forest found respondents to be almost unanimously opposed to Cop City. In an effort to stop Cop City, the decentralized movement to defend the forest has deployed a wide range of tactics that have been remarkably effective thus far. Unlike most recent occupations, the Atlanta Forest Defense has held out for some 14 months and counting.
The movement has had ongoing encampments, but it's not the only thing that's happened here. There's lots of people who circulate through the woods who don't live there full time and who host events. There's been music festivals, there's weekly dinners, there's children who go on monthly walks there and host events. There's nature exploration and all of this, but also obviously there's the more militant eco defense. So not only people just living in the forest, but also building blockades to control and sort of redefine the territory, and also constructing tree houses and tree sits, which is a long-standing environmental defense tactic to prevent trees from being cut down.
In addition to its daytime programming, the forest plays host to music and nightlife events that harken back to the anarchist Emma Goldman's much-quoted statement, "If I can't dance, I don't want to be part of your revolution." In an effort to remove this literal roadblock to its plans, the state has grown increasingly repressive, calling in additional law enforcement agencies up to and including the National Guard. A total of 19 protesters are now being charged under Georgia's domestic terrorism statute in a move even mainstream legal scholars are calling an absurd bit of overreach.
The domestic terrorism law was written in the wake of Dylan Roof's mass murder at a Black church in Charleston, South Carolina, and also after the Pulse nightclub shooting. And so, the state is using something that was written specifically for bigoted mass murder to towards people who they're only charging with trespassing plus domestic terrorism. It's just really an absurd case. And it doesn't seem like it will hold up in court, but obviously that's not what they're necessarily interested in. They want to like stop this movement before it continues growing.
Of course, that state repression turned deadly on January 18th, when a multi agency raid involving officers from the Georgia State Patrol, the DeKalb County Police, the Atlanta Police, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, and the FBI claimed the life of Manuel Esteban Paez Terran, a comrade who went by the forest name of Tortuguita. The cops claimed Terran shot first, but it's important to remember that cops lie.
The police have refused to turn over the investigation to an independent investigator, which is what has been one of the community demands around this. The GBI, who lead the task force, the police task force that killed Tortuguita, they are the ones investigating the shooting. So obviously, like, the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, they can't investigate themselves. This is basically one of the only things that they do is investigate officer-involved shootings, and almost no, there's no like outcomes that come from this that actually serve justice.
A private autopsy performed on Terran confirmed they were shot at least 13 times, which makes it totally possible that they were executed by a multi-cop firing squad of the kind that often wounds its own with friendly fire. Recently released body cam footage from the raid, in which an Atlanta Police Department officer is heard questioning whether the wounded Atlanta state trooper was shot by one of his own, provides further support for this hypothesis.
You fucked your own officer. Did they shoot their own man?
Terran is said to be the first environmental activist to have been killed by the U.S. government on U.S. soil, which bodes darkly for a future in which militant climate activism is essential if we are going to preserve humanity's quality of life on this planet. Despite this serious turn of events, the Atlanta Forest Defenders are not giving up. On the contrary, they feel emboldened by the international showing of solidarity both before and even more so after Tortuguita's death. Solidarity protests have targeted players like Bank of America and AT&T, which have millions of dollars invested in the project. The Forest Defenders hope comrades everywhere are inspired by their example of how regular people can fight for a better world through direct action, a type of praxis not mediated by a legislative process that's clunky and alienating by design.
Climate change is such like a behemoth, and so are the police. And there's something that it's really difficult to imagine a world without, but actually like it's necessary to believe and to work towards a world and fight for a world where there's a total transformation.
Even if you can't make it to the forest yourself, there are plenty of ways you can contribute to the cause and help make sure this abomination stays within the realm of capitalist fever dreams where it belongs. I'm Jamie Peck for Means Morning News.